Woman Juji Yanji Bodana, Dusum Sanji Ganji Ngoji, Ransam Jigurangam Denze, Zawe Lame Kyala Guja. Tene Tachitanga Chu Nyamlin Nam Kapso Tanda Tene Kalachewa Te Nonjongo Ombonga Song Yuarella Nonjongo Ombonga Song Na Cerdo Ngaranso Ta Mei Lutin La Depe Kapso La Kan Kalchege Yuare Sena Ombonga Te Kalchege Yuare Ombonga Te Kan Kalchege Yuare Sena Meike Zula Ta Nawe Dala Nye Tene Nai Tresor Je Ro Nyon Luji Riza Nyon Te Tangaranson Sotoba Je Ungi Yuarella Teacher Na Tingabo Te La Ombo Nga Se Ta Kalchewa Tende Song Yuare Pete Yendo Ngaranso Tombe Chu Nyamlin Che Pekaso La Kangche Kang Kalchege Yuare Sena Nonjongo Ombo Nga Te Kalchege Yuare Perna Ngaranso Lutin La Ombo Nga Te Kalchewa Yendo Tombe Chu Nyamlin Che Pekaso La Nonjongo Ombo Nga Te Kalchege Yuare La Junsin Teacher Na Ando Dong Tenju Tamchi Ganone Nonjongo Ombo Nga Nonjong Sena Tang Korwa Le Tarvega Tabje Tombe Chu Nyamso Lembe Kaso La Ombo Nga Te Sango Yuare Se Nonjongo Ombo Nga Te Kandi Chigla Koko Yuare Sena Tombo Tepa Sungo Yuare La Tepa Sungti Te La Tachitang Chuga Netan Rabo Te Yapo Je He Te La Tepa Tong Mugu Yapo Je Je Tini Te La Tangwe Tepa Tong Tepe Tepa Tong Ichipe Tepa Se Tombo Sem Tangwa Sen La Gawa Tong Chua Rabo Je Tati Tombe Chu Te Nyamlin Se Ju Te Kokab Yapo Chong Song Kalpa Zangpo Chong Song Sambeke Sen La Gawa Tong Chua Yapa Je Tang Tini Tepe Tepa Sengen Te Tang Arang Kasi Tutu Ji Chu Nyamlin Se Gugando Tini Rangin Senjin Tong Ji La Pemba Tong Dewe Ge Zawa Te Kante Rindu Se Na Ta Te Tabu Ge Chu Nyamso Lemba Te Kalche Gendo Sambe Tepe Tepa Hi Chipi Tepa Sedu Kante La Kogi Yuare Se Na Ta Te Ya Chu La Hi Chi Te Ta Te Ge Tin Tepa Te Yungure Samba Mato Te Samdabo Che Ta Pashin Hina Mena Mutobna Mauna Samba Dabo Che Mepa Ta Rangla Chitanga Te Sam Che Segre Te Hina Ya Te Sam Tenzo Rimbe Ge Tu Sam Se Ne Te Sam Tenzo Che Tene Tende Nangna Tige Ye Chipe Tepa Te Yungu Yuare La Tombo Ombo Tombo Te Tepa 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 La Tende Kare Yungu Yuare Sena Zendru Yungu Yuare
Generally, when we are practicing the Dharma, what is important for us is that we have the 5 pure faculties. And so when we say the 5 pure faculties, it's like with our body, with our human body, what is important are our 5 faculties. So why are the 5 faculties important? Well, it's because we have the eye faculty with which we can see forms, the ear faculty with which we can hear sounds, the faculty of the nose with which we can smell scents, the faculty of the tongue with which we can taste flavors, and the faculty of the body with which we can feel sensations. And it is by these 5 faculties that we are able to live our lives. And so they are the 5 faculties, and they're very important. Likewise, when we are practicing the Dharma, what is important? Well, what is important is that we have the 5 pure faculties. So just as the 5 sensory faculties are important for us in the body, when we practice the Dharma, the 5 pure faculties are important for us in our Dharma practice. And so this is as described in many different sutras and treatises. In order for us to, they're called the pure faculties because they're the faculties that allow us to liberate ourselves from samsara. So these are the 5 pure faculties. And of the 5 pure faculties, the first is faith. And so faith is when we are able to know the way the Dharma is properly. We're able to have proper faith and devotion. So this was faith, and there are three different types of faith: the sincere faith, the faith of longing, and the faith of conviction. The first of these is sincere faith, and this is like having joy and excitement in our mind about the Dharma. It's thinking, I've got this precious opportunity to practice the Dharma. How fortunate I am, and being joyful and excited about this. The second faith is the faith of longing, the faith of wishing. It's saying, I really want to do the Dharma practice. I need to do this in order to bring, this is the route for bringing benefit to myself and other sentient beings. And it's thinking that Dharma practice is important. So this is the faith of longing. The third type of faith is the faith of conviction. And this is having the conviction in the Dharma, thinking, yes, I can achieve a result from my Dharma practice. It's not having any doubts. Sometimes we might think to ourselves, can I do it or not? Is anything going to come of this? Maybe, maybe not. We don't want to have any of that type of doubt. Of course, it's possible that you might have doubts to begin with, but by doing our listening and contemplation, we can eliminate those doubts and achieve the faith of conviction. And so, in this way, the first of the five pure faculties is the faculty of faith. And because of having faith, then we achieve the second faculty, which is the faculty of diligence.
Tene ombo tongbo te da tepa che tepa la tene ombo nipa te zendru re la tepa da te la tene zendru te yunga yuwa re la zendru te guga yuwa re tampe chu nyonsa lemba la zendru yuwa na tene tampe chu nyonsa len tupa tera tupa la tene rebu topa yunga yuwa re la karte zendru me na tene tige rebu te yang tapa je tuku yuwa ma re la teacher na nangzhongo ombo nipa te zendru che tene nangzhongo ombo sumba te temba re la temba se du tene londro gane mji pe temba sunte de ngarang ke nyamsu lengu ge yen de langza gewe ge chu yen te nyamsu len to ba je gu ta rang lu ji go ne yin na yonda ngog go ne yin na yonda sen ji de ne yin na yonda te tu jundo tene te langza gewe ngo bo te nyamsu len gu som de ma ji ba je ta pangja meke wengu po te ta pangu samba te maji bache te yang lu ngo ye sam kang te ne yin ya te te dipa meke wa te yin dipa meke wa yin be chen na rang yin la ne be jorun jor chen na te pangja yin samba te te meji ba te nong jong go on bo nga ye na ne sumba temba te tu jundo ten to ba che tene di ji mandro wa ji gu gi wa re londro me ji pe temba se te ba centro temba tene sumba te yiba te tingen zen re la tingen zen se du te la ta tanda te pa yin na yon ra zendru yin na yon ra tene temba yin na yon ra te tembo jing ro gu gi wa re tene te la tingen zen se gi wa re chitang tingen zen se du ta gong ge cha la ko ge yo re de chitang ge on de se na me yo wa nda bo tingen zen se du ti den la ri pa drem ne tembur ne pa che ge ta ko ge yo re la tingen zen se du ti te la de pa che be ge che du la yo tingen zen go pa ta chen ju ji be che do yo tingen zen go pa ta tene temba ji be che do yo tingen zen go pa re la ti che na nong song go on bo ye on bo nga ga na ne ye ba te tingen zen re.
So the first of the five pure faculties is faith. And because of our faith, we develop diligence. If we have diligence, we will be able to practice the Dharma. So we need diligence. And so when we practice the Dharma, if we have diligence, then we will be able to practice and we will be able to achieve the results of the practice. But without any diligence, we will not be able to achieve the proper result. And so for that reason, the second of the five pure faculties is diligence. The third of the five pure faculties is mindfulness. And this is the mindfulness of not forgetting what must be done and what must be given up. We need to know what it is to practice. We need to remember that we need to take up and practice the virtues that are the things that we should do. And so whether it is with our body, or whether it is with our speech, or whether it is with our minds, we need to continually remember that we need to practice virtues. Likewise, we must remember that non-virtues are something that must be given up, and so we must not forget this. And so, for this way, in this manner, we have to have the mindfulness of not forgetting this, so that we must remember that the misdeeds and unvirtues of our body, speech, and mind are naturally going to harm ourselves and others, and so we must give them up. And so not forgetting that is the mindfulness. And so this is the third of the five pure faculties. This is the mindfulness of not forgetting what we must do and what we must not do. The fourth of the five faculties is samadhi. So whether we are talking about faith or talking about diligence or talking about mindfulness, we need all of them to be stable. And so for that reason, we need samadhi. Now, usually when we say samadhi, we understand it as meaning meditation. But here what it means is being unmoving or unchanging, unwavering. So it's like the word samadhi, meaning deep holding. And so it's holding it deeply and being able to hold the things deeply. And so that is the faculty of samadhi. In order to develop our faith, we must have samadhi. In order to develop our diligence, we must have this samadhi. In order to develop our mindfulness, we must have samadhi. And so this is the fourth of the five pure faculties, samadhi.
Tene ta te ji su la no jong ko bo nga ba de hirap re la ta de la tene kal che wa de hirap po song chu ba ji gu gu yo re ta ti rang ge chu ge ne lu che ta wa yin de hi ba di gi jun sin dong gu ba den zo che ta wa yin de hi be hirap yong ta ba ji gu gu yo re la ta te no jong ko bo nga ba je tene per na nga ran so on bo nga te ma sa na tene te si mese te la kangal yung yo re la ka umbonga le khande masana ya kangal yung yo re la tene te yendo tanda tambe chu nyom ne je be ka sa la no jong umbonga te cha sa je go yo re tene umbonga te chana tene te lu den te yang ta ba je yin be chna le ka khare che na yo shi thu ge re la te yendo no jong umbonga bo te cha sa je yo na tene ngara zu chu nyom so yong ta ba je len to ba yin be chna no jong umbonga 그냥 거루 온봉아 너좀 냥이는데 온봉아 선 그냥 거루에 그 당하란선 지팅게 자와도 버가서라 가르고기 요르세나 마인 나와라서 온봉아데 고기요 데 갈쳔보레 데 야보레 라 네 돈베 추도 버가서라 너좀 온봉아 너좀 냥이는데 온봉아데 예나 네 돈베 주뇽서롱바데 젠지다 제산다 땅토바 임베체나 랑힌라 펜바 도토바 임베체나 노종고 온봉아 휴기요 아레라 니데 단당하란서 두전도 마지바 템바탄 히깅 때네 야보 제 갈체그레.
The fifth of the five pure faculties is prajna, or intelligence. And this is very important. It is important that we have the excellent intelligence, or prajna, that knows the way the Dharma is and understands the reasons and the purposes of the Dharma. We need to understand them, and so therefore we need this intelligence, or prajna. So just as with the five sensory faculties, if we are lacking any of the five sensory faculties, we will have difficulties in this life. Whichever of the faculties is lacking, then we will have difficulties. Likewise, when we are practicing the Dharma, we need to have the five pure faculties. So if we have the five sensory faculties, then with our body we can do any sort of work that we need to do with our body. Likewise, if we have the five pure faculties, we will be able to do our Dharma practice properly. And so these are called the five pure faculties. The five sensory faculties are sometimes also called the five all-afflicted samsaric faculties. And this is because in order to do worldly things, in order to act within samsara, we need to have our eyes and our ears and our noses and so forth in order to be able to act with the world. And so these are the five all-afflicted samsaric faculties. Likewise, when we practice the Dharma, we need to have the five pure faculties, the five pure nirvanic faculties. If we have these five pure nirvanic faculties, then our Dharma practice will grow stronger and better and become even more pure. It will be something that will be able to benefit ourselves and others. And so in this way, we need to have these five pure faculties. These are something that we need to continually keep in mind and not forget. We need to maintain our mindfulness and awareness of them at all times.
Tene ta te tabu ombo nga te tanga ran su su ji o le tambo ba tam ji nyam so len sa re la te nyam so long na tene le ran sa wa tam ji ndu ba yin be che no ombo se sin so ro re la di ombo te che ta wa yin de nyam so long ne tambe ju gon ne gon dam pe re ka so la long gon ma to ba ka so la ta te la ka ta ten ju tam ji ga no ne top nga song yo re la ombo top nga la ne njor de te la ta ti nu pa chembo tong dem ba ta ti no jong go ombo nga e kap so la khale rang ta te jin be zur gu pa ta ba che la te ne te top nga la jor be ka so la be zur mo gu ba rang yin ge nu pa tong dem ba tong po pa tong dem ba da bo che ndo wa yin be che na top nga ombo nga top nga se tan do tene tambo tepe ombo zendru je ombo tempe ombo tingen zenje ombo shirap je ombo re la te top lanjur we kapsa la tepe to zendru je to tene tempe to tene tingen zenje to tene shirap je to te top nga lanjur ge yo re la tene te top son so ba te ta rang ge rang ge nyam ne je ba la tene kompir don ro ne ro yo re.
So these faculties, five pure faculties, are some things that we beginners, we ordinary individuals need to practice. And so they are necessary for us because they're necessary for us to accomplish anything that we set out to do. And so they are called the faculties. And if we practice them properly, as our Dharma practice strengthens and increases, as we achieve the higher paths, then as is mentioned in all of the Buddha's words and in the treatises, these five faculties then transform into the five strengths. So in the five strengths means that they have great power and great capabilities. So at first, with the five faculties, when we call them the five faculties, our practice is a little bit difficult. It needs effort for our practice. As our practice strengthens, then they become the five strengths, and they no longer require any effort. They naturally have the capability. They naturally have the power. For at that point, they are called the five strengths. So in actuality, at the beginning, we call them the five faculties of faith, the faculty of diligence, the faculty of mindfulness, the faculty of samadhi, and the faculty of prajna. And then when they become strong, we call them the five strengths: the strength of mindfulness, the strength of diligence, the strength of faith, the strength of diligence, the strength of mindfulness, the strength of samadhi, and the strength of prajna. And so they become these five strengths. And so this is because of our own Dharma practice increasing and strengthening that they become the five strengths.
Tene tate ombo nga don tok nga de tache tangge chu nyam lin na kapsa la kharche ge cholte tate rang ge la tengu ge cholte hubarela tate ji so kasen kan tu le sin de zin ni je dewe jo dan song chu sen chu nin la yo se tate la chi tangge song chu ge sen sen ge de be kharche wa suare ten chongchu ke san de maji ba rang ke san je den de ga gu ge yo re so chongchu ke san sing ke de kan de je la go ge yo re se na ji dang ge won de se na som ba som bo dong den ba som ba zang bo pun som cho ba dong den ba je la go ge yo re la som ba zang bo pun som cho ba dong den ba se du ten ji dang ge som ba zang bo dong cham ba dong ni je de su le yin na yo re Sulayan Yaba de Karirisena, Tatin Chimbo Tonjig and non the son, Sentin Tonjig, Sanjilla, Ricum Devarki, Nimbo, you are Te Yaba Latin, the Samba Zamboton, Sham Nije, Yore, son the Suarete, Yinayon, Sham Nije, Tenzola, Te, Chatsamachi, Yo Marilla, Te Chatsamachi Gogre, Chatsama said to Candidela Gogi or Sena, Tene Chambaton Nije, Don Samba Zambote, Sentin Kahi la Yola, Sentin Kahi la Imeba. Tene ngarang chuto raboje la yeba ngarang chuto maimba tenzola changhinje don samba zambo meba raboje changna tichitang ge yapore de inaya ticha sangwa ji yung yo mare tene tela pin to samba te ya tachitang ge ta de samba zambu go ne ta yen la pin to samba ge kono te chitang ge se da gu da nordon Hian Dong Min La Sopa Go Ne Pin Dot Na, Jitang Yapore Vesena Yapore, Yapore de Tendo Dewaji Togi Yo Marilla, Tinite Kadu Yinayang Harange, Tini Sentin Suli Yinayang, Churi Meba, Tomchi, Tini May Ludin the Jiba Yinayanda, Tundu Ludin the Jiba Yinayanda, Kantarian, Tomchi La, but Tini Sentin. Khenpo la sopa yinayanda, sentin trabu la sopa yinayanda, rik mandrawa namba na sopa yinayanda, kantareyon, tamchi la nyerin chodon meba, tene tamchi la chamba don hinje don samba zambo yeba che, churi meba che, tene te la che tang, tene te yendo nipa de kaliri sena, nekab ke pen to toba yinayanda, tartu ke pen to toba yinayanda, Kadu yinayang te dungal le chope ke thap che da dewalang gepe ke thap tung pusum sopa che shegi yin sompe kong number toba tong tempa te la tene chongchu ke san segi yo are.
And so this was a description of the importance of the 5 faculties and the 5 powers for our Dharma practice. And so this is just a description on the side that I'd like to ask you to please keep in your minds. And now to continue from yesterday on page 2, the top of page 2. The cause of happiness in both this and future lives is to keep the meaning of Supreme Bodhicitta in your heart. And so bodhicitta is extremely important. And so it is something that we should never forget and we must always keep in our heart. We all need to keep it in mind. But when we say bodhicitta, how should we understand this? Well, generally, bodhicitta is having a kind heart, but it's the most excellent of kind hearts. Now, a kind heart, loving kindness, and compassion is something that all sentient beings have. This is because, as it is said in all of the treatises, all of the sentient beings have Buddha nature. It is present within all sentient beings, and so therefore they are able to develop loving kindness, and they are able to have kind heart, loving kindness, and compassion. But that kind heart, loving kindness, and compassion is incomplete. And so it needs to be completed. The reason it is incomplete is that they may have loving kindness, compassion, and a kind heart for some sentient beings, and yet not for other sentient beings. They might have loving kindness, compassion, and a kind heart for those who are included within their own side and not for those who are on the other side. And so there's a bias there. It is not complete. And so there is the wish to help something. And of course, if we have that wish to help, is that good? Of course it is good. If we want to help someone by giving them food, clothing, or an education or medical treatment, is that good? That is wonderful. But it is not lasting, and it is not lasting and not stable. So it is not the greatest of the helps. And so for whomever it is, ourselves and others, without any bias for those in our own side or those on the other side, whether they are human in form, whether they're animal in form, whatever form they take, whatever size sentient being, whether they be a large sentient being or whether they be a tiny sentient being, whatever different of the many different species of sentient beings, for all sentient beings, we need to have loving kindness and compassion that has no bias towards those near or far, no attachment and no aversion. And so that is the first quality that we need. The second quality is that whenever there's an opportunity to bring either a temporary or an ultimate benefit to any sentient beings, we must do everything that we can to relieve them of their suffering and to bring them to happiness. It is important to have this motivation. So that motivation is the second aspect. And if we have these two aspects, then it is bodhicitta.
Tene ta songchu ke sensing de jitang somba sambo imbala surni dan den basung yore la surni de nije dan hira panson soba ji guge yore tombo nije panson soba on de sena tene jitang tene senjin kahi jela nije yapo je na yapo revesena yapo re de ina yo kapkala nije de la churi na tene senjin kahi la pembala pen topic ke che do senjin kahi la ne panda bo yong se kre je la rang chu yin samba to yin da de yin ji chu yin samba ta bu nije de cha sang wa je yo ma re la de ta bu ma yin ba nije de cha sang wa je go ge yo re tene hirap je on de se na ni pa de dan chen ni pa de hirap je sur re la hirap pusum chu ba khande je go ge re se du ni je pusum chu ba je ye pa la tene ta de ge ni je we ge yol dong chang be ge san je we ge yol de la pen tu chen bo je go ge yo re la pen ta pa de ji dang ge ne ga zong de pen ta na ya tene ya po re de yin na ya ti ge dang ge yo re be na dang ge yo ma re perna tanda lo chola pen ta to pan ro lo nga chola pen ta to pa lo jala pen ta to pan ro tinde yapo re be na yapo re de na ya di thamala tinde pen ta ma so pan ro jin ro yin be chen na ten do dewa to pa de tinde ngani khadu yin na ya dungal le cha pa to dewa lang ga pa de yung yin sam pa de tene hirap che surdon tempa re la te tabu surni don tempa te sonchu ke sante sen de ni je dewe jo tene rangin so yin na yo sen da la yang pen to gre la je wa chima la yang pen to gre dewa to ji ge jo yon ta pa yin be cher na te tabu sonchu ke sante ta ta pa nyen la yo gre so.
And so bodhicitta is a kind heart, but it also has a kind heart that has two different characteristics or two different facets. These two facets are the facet of excellent compassion and the facet of excellent prajna. So the excellent compassion is that when we have compassion, if we have compassion for some sentient beings, is it good? Of course it is good. But there's a bit of a danger there. And so when we benefit some sentient beings, there is a danger that we will harm other sentient beings. And so then if we have our own side and the other side, then that compassion is incomplete. And so we must have compassion that is not like that. Instead of that, we need to have the complete, the full compassion. The second facet is the facet of prajna. And so when we have compassion, then we need to be able to bring benefit to those for whom we feel compassion. And when we bring them benefit, if we bring them temporary benefit, then in general, is that good? Is it beneficial? Of course it is good. But if we help them for 10 years, or we help them for 50 years, or we help them for 100 years, at the end of that time frame, then we're unable to help them anymore. It is like it's all used up. What we need instead is to be able to bring them to lasting happiness, a lasting happiness where they're protected from suffering and brought to happiness. And in order to do that, we need the second facet, the facet of prajna, or intelligence. And so if we have these two facets, then these two facets or characteristics make it bodhicitta. And bodhicitta is something that is the source of happiness and benefit for ourselves in both this and in future lives. And so it is important for us to have this bodhicitta with these two facets and to always keep it in mind.
Tene ta te la kunzu songchu ke san sungre la. Ta ni pa de tanda songchu ke san re. Te la kare sungre yo re se na tsek komba ni la. Nam tenchu jalbo ronga pa. Hi zopa chimbu gondan chong se. Sungre yo re la. Tene ta te yang chitang ngaran so la kare gu ge yo re se na. Dunghal pong gu ge yo re. Dewa top gu ge yo re. Re te yin na ya dewa te ngala gu ge do somni. tabhi siya dewa changpa thogi yo ma re la. Dunghal te thar gu gu dunghal te yugi yin sa na yuwa yo ma re. Kapka la lu la dunghal yung yo re. Kapka la san la dunghal yung yo re. La ta te pangsi ke thap te kare gu gu re siya na. Sanchi chamden de ji kyu nang tang ji jo le chang. Te ju te kin hi pe song. Jo lang go pa kong yin pa. Ge jong chin pen de ki song. Jo yi ten ne me pa si gu gu yo re. Dunghal pongwar sepa la dunghal je jo dipa megewa, le dipa megewa tong nye momba, kanchung le tong nye momba tenzo len junga yuwa re la. Tene tiki nye momba tenzo lo pangwa ke tap se na, tene pang toki yuwa re la. Nye momba tenzo pang na, dunghal de pang toki yuwa re. Nye momba tenzo ma pang na, dunghal de pang toki yuwa ma re. Ti chel na nye momba desha khe tong temu nga jal thodo la sopa te pang gu yuwa re. Nye momban desho hedon temu nga ja thodo la sopa te pongwar sepa la ta ngan desho pangi yin hedan pangi yin somne ka na ka thugi yuwa re besi na ka thugi yuwa ma re la tene te pongsi ke thap te la namba na sopa ten yuwa re tene te la chitang tipa memba le tongbo beka so la khonso ke dha me pa ten se tene ta tsawa te nye momba tongchi ke tsawa te kana teni yunga yuwa se na danzin la teni yunga yuwa re. Danzin te pongpa ke ta kare si gu se na te danzin te pong tuga yuwa re. Danzin te ke tsawa da sinkin te nga sinkin te nga rang tsu je la yuwa ma re la. Teni te ke rang lu la yin na yanda, rang sen la yin na yanda, kantar yang, ta tanda lu ke ngo, njo, parsam, kanga la ta ni. Nga sinkin te kabado tawa. Tene te yendo la, danzin te la kante yunga yuwa re se na, tene te la da tong dagarin zamba se ke yuwa re la. Ti noni dagarin zamba te, tene tanda dunghal je tsawan rabon rogo yuwa re. Tene te kante rogo yuwa re se na, pe na, tene tanda, kayu ji sala la so na kayu ngarang kayu ndabo te sala so na o nge kayu de sala so so cha so nge cho de po so aka samba ga te san lan je ban ndabo yung yo re la ti gi nge sen ki de ka ba do te na kayu ge che no par som cho ti ge par da ka ta ka la ina ya te ta bu ge nge sen ki de yo ma re la te me pa to na da do da grin zam ba te me pa to na dang zin de pang re dang zin pong ba la te ni nye mong pa tong dung ha tin zo ren be yen de la pang to ba yung ge yo re la ti pa me ba ne te ne kong zo ga da me pa te na ge yo re la tene tipa chimbo ne te zom da yo ma zi chu tam chi tong ba ne de ten la pa ge yo re tene te song ho do ji tipa ge lam ne ko la we ge zat no hi la wa to la wa sa la la pen che wa de kare re se na tene rang san la ta ge yo re la tenchu jalbo rang pa se nam tenchu jalbo rong pa se no tena ngarang sen je ne lu de ten to ba ji chong na tene te rombak che ngona nyambari ga na te la hi zoba chimbo se ge yo re ti gondan chong gu ge re so.
So those two lines describe relative bodhicitta, and then the next two lines describe ultimate bodhicitta. When there is the Supreme King of mindfulness, let it be, sustain the nature, the meaning of Dzogchen. So generally, what is it that we need? Well, we need to eliminate suffering. We need to bring ourselves happiness. But we can't just say to ourselves, oh, I want to be happy, I must be happy. That won't just bring us happiness. If we say to ourselves, I need to eliminate suffering, that will not eliminate our suffering of our own. Suffering is something that happens just from time to time naturally in our bodies and mind. And so what is the method that we can use then? Well, it is as said in the Dharma. All phenomena arise from causes. The Dharma taught those causes. Whoever it is that stops those causes will achieve happiness. And so generally, or will achieve peace. And so so all dharma, all phenomena arises from causes, and the causes of suffering is that they come from our unvirtuous actions and our misdeeds. Those unvirtuous actions and misdeeds come from the afflictions, and so it is from the origin, the truth of origin, the karma and afflictions that our sufferings comes. And so if we think to ourselves, well, therefore I am going to give up the afflictions, if we just say, am I going to be able to, I'm going to give up the afflictions, will we be able to give up the afflictions? We will not be able to. So if we give up the afflictions, we will be able to give up suffering or eliminate our suffering. If we do not give up our afflictions, we will not be able to eliminate our suffering. And so the afflictions are the greed, hatred, delusion, envy, and so forth in our minds. And we may want to eliminate them, but if we just say to ourselves, okay, I'm going to stop now, I'm not going to get angry, and so forth ever again, will we be able to just stop them like that? We cannot do them. And so for that reason, we need to apply various different methods in order to eliminate the afflictions. In the teachings of the foundation vehicle, we meditate upon the selflessness of the individual. And so what is the root of the afflictions? The root of the afflictions is clinging to a self. And is that clinging to a self something that we can eliminate? Yes, it is, because the root of clinging to the self is a self or a me. And no matter where we look in our body, we cannot find such a me. Whether we look in the beginning, the middle, or the end, or anywhere in between, we cannot find a me or an I anywhere in ourselves or outside of ourselves. Because of clinging to ourselves, we also cling to mine. We cling to me, so therefore we cling to mine. And that clinging to mine is also the root of suffering. How is it that that happens? Well, if we have a nice cup, a really nice cup filled with water, and if it falls on the floor and breaks, then we say to ourselves, oh no, my cup broke, poor me. But actually, when we think about that me, my cup, where is that my anywhere? Is it anywhere on the inside or the outside or in between the cup? Is there an I that can be found, a mine that can be found anywhere in the water? There is not any that can be found. And so by realizing that there is no mine that can be found, then we can understand that there's no me and no mine, and we can eliminate those. And by eliminating those, then we eliminate the clinging to self. By eliminating that, then we eliminate the afflictions. And so this is the manner of applying the selflessness of the individual used in the foundation vehicle. In the Mahayana, not only do we see that there is no individual self, but we see that all phenomena lack any self. And in the secret mantra Vajrayana in particular, in order to make it easy to understand, easy to realize, easy to do, then we meditate upon this within our own mind. As it says in the text here, when there is the Supreme King of mindfulness, let it be. Sustain the nature, the meaning of Dzogchen. So when there is this Supreme King of mindfulness, when there is mindfulness, then we just let that be, and we rest in equipoise. And this is the basis of Dzogchen. And by resting in that, then we need to sustain the nature, the meaning of Dzogchen.
Dene tatela tipa chimbu go on to sena chutanji tombanye se chuji dot me pasone chutanji tombanye de tena pagyo arela chutanji tombanye de tena pabdu tela tene me nawa me na me je me lu me ye me hibala sobato zo me da me teme ro me riza me chu me singenda wata tongji doni de tena papate yapo je nyamlin na pe yapo yo are de yina ya kapka la de luzi ke tombanye se ta ti lo ke se ne tombanye main ba je la tombanye yin san lu zu de pandabo je un de la te se tela lom norwanda bo yung yo re ta teta bo main pa song doji tibi ge on de sena hi zopa chim be gondan la kare yo re sena tenju jalbo rong sen je papte rang sen la te na tomba ni main pa la tomba ni yin song go yo mare tene tomba ni yin pa la main song go yo mare korang ngo de rang sen de Koran yepa ina, yepa mepa ina, mepa koran kare dupa tiki ngo xie ne, ngarang sen la chila tsirta wa ma inpa, sem nang la tsurta ne, nepa tela, tini rang tempe gen chu tu jalbo. Jalbo ronga pa rangin ki sen je ngo la kare yepa te tawa te, zopa chimpe gondan rin, tini te chon na, tendang sonju ki sen chepar tan papa yunga re, suwa re.
In terms of the Mahayana, all phenomena are emptiness. This is the selflessness of phenomena. All phenomena are selfless. All phenomena are established as being empty. And so, for this reason, it says it says things such as there is no eye, no ear, no nose, no touch, no taste, no dharmas, or it'll say such things as there is no form, no feeling, no form, no feeling, no taste, no touch, no dharmas, and excuse me. No form, I'm getting them confused. At any rate, no form, no feeling, and all that. All of these are emptiness, and if we are able to practice this properly, then this is very good. But sometimes what happens is that we have a rather mentally fabricated idea of emptiness. And we think that something that is not empty, we think that we're making it up as being emptiness. And if we do this, then our path is a little bit mistaken. And so instead of doing that, in the secret mantra Vajrayana, we sustain the nature, the meaning of Dzogchen. We look at the nature of the mind itself. And when we look at the nature of the mind itself, we don't have to try to make something that isn't emptiness into emptiness. We don't have to try to make something that is not emptiness we don't have to make something that is not emptiness into the empty. We do not have to make something that is empty into something that is not empty. We just look at it as it is. If it exists, if it doesn't exist, no matter what it is like, we just look at it as it is. And when we look at it, we do not need to look at something outside of ourselves. Instead, it is the mind looking inwards at itself. And with the mind looking inward in this way, this is the supreme mindfulness, the supreme king of mindfulness. It is seeing the nature of the mind as it is. And when we see that, that is the Dzogchen. If we realize that Dzogchen, the meaning of Dzogchen, then we have realized the ultimate bodhicitta.
Tene tati ndi kapsula jitanga tikpasam shogi yorela. Tikpasam shudu tela jitanga ndoye nune tempa tabaji re mato. Tingsong yongso tropa perna Sri Lanka tan Thailand la tawala Theravada sinkin teda. Tene Jonathan Japan la supa la tarwala tipa chimbo suata. Tene peta tarwala sonho doji tipa andravota tende sonho tik on de sene shogi yo mare. Tene kon nambala mengo re yo re la mengo te susu ge nyamlin nandu te lan drebote tobge yo re. Tandan di kazola tipa som sinkin te kanga kapsala shogi yo re sena. Ndodan tenchu chimbo namne tembege tipa som te shogi yo re. Ndoye none sanji chamden de jisumbe ndoye none jong da tipa membege lo yen konza ga dame gangu gare da tipa chimbege lo yen chudan je toni do gangu gare da songho do je tipa lo yen senyi ge nelu de la tagu gare son te song yo are la ti korte shogi yo are mato tene tanda yonsu topege tanda tipa teravada tan tipa chimbo tabuga ondu sena susu ga lamte yapo nyonlin nang yore nyonlin nawala te nendreba togi yore te tipa chimbo tan chunchung ke cha tanda hege yo mare.
Now, here, when we talk about the three vehicles, we are speaking about the three vehicles as they're taught in the sutras and tantras. These days, as is well known, we talk about the vehicles. We often talk about the Theravada tradition in Sri Lanka and Thailand as the foundation vehicle. We talk about the Mahayana that has spread to China and Japan and so forth, and the Vajrayana that has spread to Tibet. But that is not what is intended here. Each of these different traditions has their own their own key instructions, and if you practice them properly, then you will be able to achieve a true result from those instructions. And so here, when we are talking about the three vehicles, what we mean instead is the three vehicles as they are taught by the Buddha in the sutras and the tantras and treatises. And so in terms of the foundation vehicle, this is the meditation. This is where he says, this is the foundation vehicle. It is the meditation on the selflessness of the individual. This is the greater vehicle. This is the meditation on the emptiness of all phenomena. And this is the secret mantra Vajrayana, where you meditate by looking at the nature of your mind. And so that is what is intended here. It is not what when we talk about the vehicles here, we do not mean the well-known tradition of the Theravada tradition versus the Mahayana Buddhism. Each of those has their own path, their own instructions, and their own practice that bring good results. And so these are not what is intended at this point.
Tene chelango on the same the soon Kausalan Tomba Jacho and Doyle Loton. Tene deji Sapa Sonho Jelo ni ten Varela. They no ne Jacho and Doyle on the Siena. Drew Sodon Rojon Mankan Ne Kondo Son Jongalme Le Chetar Sejon Yenden Base. That del descendable son Yore. Tene Deba Chonkin Chu Hipa the Galchiore. Tando on the Siena. Rana Chipo Yapoji Chonayon, Digere, Chipo Yapoji Majona, Jachimbotan, Tinipanjo Longe Pusan Sopa, Majonayon Digere, Chonayon Digere, Sambegan, Deba Chonkin, Chuki Baji, Gugi Arella, Te Chona, Dro Sodon, Dro John Mankan, Tiningaranga Tropo Kande, Yonaya, Tela, Hedang Dan, Nesem Dan. Kenzin la sopa mepa, Jombo dan, Lepo dan, Tine Gugi Yore, Dru Sodon Dru Jom Mankan Ken, Tachitanga, Zo Mantimba de Kanate Nyungi Yore, Sena Hedan la Tene Yungi Yore la. Hedan Ten Mandawa number not sopa Yore, Tatin Juganon the Susu Yena, Hedan la, Tinin Kenzin Sinking Yore la. Kenzin Sidu de la, Tinite Narana. Chandra Manda Koata, Tenete, Jolanda Manda Chumate, Tujundo, Train, Tandigalati, Yapoche Majun, somebody, Sala, Yotne, Tene, Lord of Dawasin, Yardeba, Saint Jetan, the Yardeba Tavatel, Kenzin Segior, Yina Hedonga Consultopari, Kahila Contra Segior, Tengan the Churvala Kogior, Muso, Tene Kahila. Tene tanda tsikba sege yore lan tsikba sena ne tela hedan ji ne che tsik tsupon tende ji lagu gudu yana tsemu gu namba lagu gudu yana ngus par teka lagu gudu tsik nyamba lagu gudu sambata bote tela tsikba sege yore tene nesem sena yana tela nepa ji chal gu gudu nepa ji si gu gudu te yana medewa ji zotoba ji si gu gudu sambata bo ta tende jige Hedanga Consultope, non to tenzo yona, ten true sodom drona yon, devoji yungu marella, tetaba main by Hedang de Bango yore, Tatela change you can on sona, Hedan Sungu Sanchona, yin the Hiwa Nyomanyo, Gadon Dewa Matola Nimon, Temin Jorose, Hedan sinking the Nasanda Bojire, Nasanda Boji into the Tesana Yona, Tine Tanda. Sent the devote the Chipoji Zani Yungi Marella, sent the devote Chipo Mion was on the Mazin, Simonia Maguata in the Yungi Yore, teacher na Hedante Pena Danda Bojire, Hedante Payu to Bagugere, Sonarella. Then Hedante you to not also don't do Mankan, near Condo Son, Jongalme, such a candidate la Dena and Kangalmeba. Tende Yungere, Tela Kari Gugere Sena, Le Chetar Sejon, Yendembe, Lega Kari, Sena Yena Pemba, yin la pen to ba je ma to yin la ne pe sa wa ma yin ba yin den la be ba ya po je shang na lu ji go ni yin na yang da ngo ga go ni yin na yang da sen ji den ge ko hong yin na yang da de da bo je shang na be ya po yung ge yo re so na ta ja che wa ndo ye lom ni den be ge chul de den ba re.
The next portion discusses this in terms of the conduct, and so first it discusses it in terms of the vast tradition of the sutras, and then it describes it in terms of the profound tradition of the tantras. And so it reads, "Do not resent whomever keeps you company. Do not be sad or weary wherever you go. Whatever you do, strive for others' sake." And so here there are three different points. Now, in general, in the sutras, it is taught that we should have few desires and be content with whatever we get. If we get a lot of things, we should be fine with that. If we don't get anything, we should be fine with that. However much we get, we should be happy with that, and we should have few desires and be content with what we have. And then, if we are like that, we should also not resent whomever it is that with whomever we keep company with. And so, whatever person we are with, we should make sure that we don't have any malice towards them or any grudges towards them. And generally, when we talk about anger or hatred, there are different types or gradations of hatred, and of the different types, the first of these is holding a grudge or resentment. So a grudge is when you think, they said that thing about me, or they did this thing to me, they didn't treat me well, and then you keep this in your mind and you hold it in your heart for years or for months, and keeping that in your mind like that, that is resentment or a grudge. And then when it becomes manifest as anger. The second aspect of this is, the next aspect is contentiousness. So when you think about wanting to say something to hurt someone, thinking, how can I say something to get at them? What can I do to make them upset or angry? What harsh words can I say to that person? And that is contentiousness. Another aspect is malice. And malice is thinking, what can I do to harm that other person? How can I hurt them? What can I do to put them into pain? And so these are all different types these are all different types of hatred. And whenever we have these, if we have thoughts, any of these thoughts that are included among hatred, then there is no happiness for ourselves or anyone else. It is, as is said in the Way of the Bodhisattva by Shantideva, where he said, whoever is angry has no peace. They do not even sleep at night. It is like a pain, and it is when you are free of it, then you are relieved. And so when you have hatred in yourself, it's like you've got this pain or this illness inside of yourself. And as long as you have that, you cannot be comfortable. You cannot be happy. In fact, it often makes you so uncomfortable that you are unable to sleep at night. But when you are able, so it is like a foe that you need to eliminate. But once you are free of that hatred, then you will be happy. And so do not resent whoever who keeps you company. Do not be sad or weary wherever you go. And if you, whatever you do, strive for others' sake. So all of your actions, you should try to make efforts to bring benefit to other sentient beings. Whether these are acts of your body, words with your speech, or whether it is motivations that you have in your mind, if you are always able to bring these for the benefit of others, then this will be of benefit. And so this is teaching the conduct in terms of the vast tradition of the sutras.
다 대답을 자체와 너의 념이 세나요. 되게 요아래. 레데 히나야 나란서 페 칼바상 보정네. 데네 송호 그 맹어 송호 도지 티비 맹어 체버지 mambo 유요아래라. 데 유요발라 때네 다 송호 도지 티비 추 념네 난고 요아래. 데 송호 도지 티비 추 토모마인 베 맹어 mambo 슝게 준신데 간디리세나 지당게 베도 추 치스 tarware. Turab damba, jepa, goba, chuba, donla, rimba, yendola, tarware la. Te tarwe kapsala pe tushi yaponda boje kene. tene tanda rimba yendola chude jagala yon rimba yendola tarondu tene nalinda ye zula kondo betamala hili zula konyite pe kepa chembo cheparjin mambo ton tuto cheparjin mambo perna tanda kepe ke ondo se na papa ludu ton tomi la soba tawe chepartan papa mambo pe tuto ko ondo se na telo pato naro pato tene ta teginda jagarje tuto jecho la soba mambo pe ne chu hindo tarwe ke kapso yimbe cherna tene peto sembe ke ondo se na yonguru rumbo che ta tene tanda kinchin hiwanso joji patin ate khala soba mambo pe tene lozawa mambo tika so la jagar la pe ne tene marba loza ton roma lozawa la soba mambo pe ne tene tombe chuchi menga cheparjin mambo top ta tende yimbe cherna tumo ma yimba tene sala la chewe ke dangwa cheparjin mambo topare la te topa yimbe cherna sunho doji tibi nyamne che gugi ware sunho doji tibi nyamne che beka so la dhansik song gugi ware sunware dhansik mambo song gugi ya paten che ta tene te ya dhansik te la dhambo chitanga dhansik song gugi paten che ta te je so dhansik sunwa te ya tene tab debu go ne nyamsel lembe ke tab de kamdana la ten yo are la te ni ye beno ne tombo tansi song gu ke cholte temba isare.
And so that is in terms of the vast tradition of the sutras. But we are extremely fortunate, and this is a time when there are many instructions of the secret mantra Vajrayana that are present. And so we need to practice the Dharma of the secret mantra Vajrayana. Now, the reason why there are so many different instructions of the secret mantra Vajrayana now is because the Dharma spread to Tibet later. Dharma spread to Tibet in the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th centuries. And this was actually a very good time for the Dharma to spread. It was a time when the Dharma had spread widely in India. In the great monastic universities of Nalanda and Vikramashila, there were a great many scholars. There were a great many siddhas, or accomplished masters. Among the great scholars, there were scholars such as Nagarjuna, Asanga, and so forth. And among the great siddhas, there were people like Tilopa, Naropa, or the 84 Mahasiddhas, and so forth. And so the Dharma, there was a lot of variety of Dharma that had spread very widely. And then it was brought to Tibet by such masters as Guru Rinpoche, Shantarakshita, Atisha, and so forth. There are also many Tibetan translators who went to India, translators such as Marpa the translator, Drokmi the translator, who went to India and received many instructions. And so they brought these instructions back to Tibet, these particular instructions back, and these spread. And so in this way, the practice of the secret mantra Vajrayana spread, and we are able to practice it now. We need to practice the secret mantra Vajrayana, but when we practice it, there are many different samayas, or commitments, that we need to keep. And so here, first, there is a teaching about how we need to keep the samayas. And then second, there is a teaching on an easy way that we can keep them all, a sort of condensed way we can keep them all. And so first is the teaching that teaches the reasons why we need to keep our samayas.
Ngā dōjē tīpē tāngsī chē, mē āndē yīndā jītē jī, sē tā tēlā jītē chēmbō sē tāngsī tīndō sōnggō kare. Tēnē tēlā jītē sīpē kē tsūl tē yōng, tā ngō kō mē pā sō yīn sōng, sē tēnē tē mē mōmbū kī jī lā yāpō sōng tē pā nā kī ngā rāng jī pō tē pē kā sō lā, tēnē tāngsī tē yāpō mā sōng wān rā pō mā yīn pā, tēnē mīn tōng nā yōng rā, mā tōng nā yōng rā, tāngsī tē yāng tāpā jī sōng gu kare, jitang ka tāngsī tē sōng gu kare, sōng nē tēng pā rē lā. Tē jī sō lā, tāngsī sōng wā tē yōng, tēnē pē kā lē kā bū nā pā rā pō mā yīn pā, tā dē bū ngō nē sōng tē tē lā, zhōng nāng zhōng tāng cī mō nā yōng, ndō qiānbō nī jī kōng sōng dō, nī gā nāng dōng dō gā rē, tā wē tāng cī dōng, jē bē tāng cī nī gā nāng dōng dō gā rē, sōng nē, sō rō dō ndō rō dō nē tēng bā rē.
And so first it teaches us what is taught is why the reasons why we need to keep the samaya. And so this is taught saying, treasure like your eyes the samaya commitments of the mantra Vajrayana. And so we need to treasure these commitments. We need to cherish them like our eyes. And so we need to keep them. And then how is it that we keep them? Now guard them as dearly as your life without hypocrisy. And so this means that when we're in the presence of many people, we need to keep our samaya commitments, but also when we're alone, we need to keep our samaya commitments. Whether other people can see or not, we still need to hold our commitments properly. And so this is teaching us the reason, how we need to keep our samaya. And then after that, there are many different samayas that we can keep, but as for an easy way to summarize them and keep them is taught in the next two lines. Though there are many enumerations of samaya, they're all included in the two great maxims. And so there are these two different ways of presenting, for keeping all the samayas, to summarize them.
Tene tela tawe tangsi de karire, chepe tangsi de karire se na, tene tela len te jin chulpa pudip tawe tam, sham niji le sin chepe tam se yin sunga re la. Jin chulpa pudip se du tela ta chitanga wanda se na, ngaran sola dedu ga namba mambu, xar redu ga namba mambu, xar kapka la rewa chimbo tong, kapka la topa chimbo. Tā tēla tēne kāpkā la dēchī pōngsōng tsōpan rābō tāng, kāpkā la dōngā la chīmbū nēmbā tāng, tēne tā tēnde yōngu yuwa rē la, tē yōngdu tēla, tē tsāwā tē kāna tūgu yuwa rē sē na ngā rāng sōgu sēng na tūgu yuwa rē, dēwā yin na yōng rāng sēng rē, dōngā yin na yōng rāng sēng rē, tēne tā tē rāng sēng jē nē lū tē kāndē jē yuwa rē sē na, sēng tē rāng yin kē, tēne mā chūpa, ye ne we salwa ngo tongpa ni inpa che ye pa ti ngo xie na tin trupa ti ki puk te deb nuku yo re la pupa te deb nuku yo re te tawe tangsi re te tu jondo rangi san che ne lu te chong ku yo re chay che te tawe tangsi re tu jondo kasi chang tu tu chang na nyong yo ka kapsa la yin na yanda jido ka kapsa la yin na yanda tawe tangsi te chang tini tu jondo chelong ka kapsa la kare gu kare se na shamba tong niji che gu kare shamba tong niji go ne leka chepo chi se na yonda leka chung chung chi se na yonda kare yin na yon shamba tong niji ka ne long leka chi se na te chepe tangsi re ta te yapo yung kare tini junsin teacher na tawe tangsi tong chepe tangsi nyi te yapo che song ne tawe tangsi te yon ye chepe tangsi te yon ye na te nikan zang na te nyi jang tini ta te nikan zang na tawe tangsi te yapo ye pa che chepe tangsi te yapo ye pa che na tini rangin ke te nyi punsan tso pan jung kare song ne tini te tanda kanga rang la penpa yin na yon te la teni yung kare yin la penpa yin na yon te la teni yung kare song yin sare.
And so there are two different samayas. These are the samaya of the view and the samaya of the conduct. So what are these samayas? The downfall of the root of confusion, the condition is the samaya of view. The great work of love and compassion is the samaya of conduct. And so the great downfall, the downfall of the root of confusion. Generally, we experience various pleasures and pains. We have great expectations and worries. We expect great things to happen. We worry about bad things that might happen. Because of this, we experience pleasure. Sometimes we experience various great sufferings and pains as well. And what is the reason for this? The reason is that all of these come down to our mind. Whether it is happiness or whether it is unhappiness, it all comes down to our mind. And when we look at our mind, what is the nature of the mind like? It is unaltered. It is primordially luminous. It has always been empty. And when we realize this, then this is the downfall, the downfall of the root of confusion. So this is the view. This is if we understand, this is something that we need to maintain and know all the time. And so, if we can maintain this all the time, whether we are in the meditative equipoise or whether we are in the post meditation, if we can maintain this, this is the samaya of the view. The second samaya is the samaya of conduct. So the great work of love and compassion is the samaya of conduct. So we need to have love and compassion. Whether we are doing a great work or whether we are doing a small work, whatever work we do, it should be motivated by love and compassion. And if we do so, then this is the samaya of the conduct. And so, if we are able to keep these two samayas continually, then it will turn out well for us. If those two are present, the two benefits will arise. So when we are able to maintain the samaya of the view and the samaya of the conduct, then the great benefits for ourselves and for others will arise. And so, the meaning of this is that we will be able to bring great benefit for ourselves and great benefit for others because of the two samayas.
Tene tere nga du chu ni te zang jo na, tene gewa gen den dong hor na ro je.
That is enough for this morning's session. Now please dedicate the merit to the benefit of others.